and welcome to another episode of Katie the Science Lady. I'm Mrs. Jacobson, and today's topic is an introduction to all of the human body systems. So let's learn together.
Let's get to it. When we talk about human body systems, our body systems are so complicated and so complex and so intermingled that we could sit here and talk for an hour or more about them and all the interactions that we have between them. But what I want to do is go kind of quickly through each of these body systems, give you the general idea, the structure, and the function of each system. I may include some of how they work together, especially if they're systems that tend to work together a lot. But I found this really cool tool online. I'll go ahead and post the link for it below the video, and you can kind of play around with it if you need to. It's completely free. So when we look at this, because I like things with visuals, right here we see the integumentary system. That's the first body system I wanted to talk about today. We have the integumentary system for a male, and we also have the integumentary system for a female. Now, the system operates the same way. It's a system of our skin. And it's there for protection and also for temperature regulation. So our skin has pores in it where we have our body hair, and that's going to allow us to either sweat or not sweat. And it also allows the hair on our body to stand up, which generates a very small amount of heat for us. But it's our body's way of trying to warm us up with the integumentary system. Moving on to our muscular system, so diving below the skin. It consists of our muscles, which you probably could have guessed. And this system's job is mainly a couple of things here. Movement is our biggest reason for having the muscular system. Without the muscular system, you wouldn't be able to move at all. That's its big key feature here. In addition, it provides us with warmth. The more you move your muscles, the warmer you get. Muscles produce heat when they are contracting. And the last thing that you may not know about the muscular system is that a lot of our organs themselves have muscular tissue in them. Our heart is made of cardiac muscle. Many of our other organs have smooth muscle in them, which allow them to move things within the organ. So for example, when we're digesting food, your esophagus has smooth muscle in it. Parts of your intestines have smooth muscle in them to help move food from one place to another. So a lot of those movements in our body that we think of as not having to control, those are called peristaltic actions, and those are taken by the smooth muscle inside of our organs. So movement for our muscles, and it also helps us move things inside our organs as well. Moving on to our skeletal system. Our skeletal system is made up of our bones. There's really not a whole lot to this. They work in tandem with our muscles to help us move. It's there for protection. We have our ribs and our skull that help protect our internal organs. And one of the other lesser known features of our skeletal system is that our long bones, so seen here in our femur, right here, and then up here in our humerus, the long bones of our arm as well. The marrow inside the bone helps us produce red blood cells and white blood cells. So we have blood cell production happening in our long bones as well. Moving on to our nervous system. Our nervous system, it comprises of our brain, our spinal cord, and our nerves. And you can see that in this picture. I'm actually going to move the muscular system out of the way. There we can see a little bit better. So this is our control system. It's our electrical signaling system. All of the signals coming through our nerves are electrical, like the electricity you have in your house. And essentially, it's going to take sensory input from the world around us, so touch, taste, vision, or sight, hearing, all of those kind of stimuli we have. It turns it into an electrical signal, send it to our brain. Our brain then decides what to do with this information. So if you put your hand on a hot stove, you're going to feel that. You have pressure sensors, you have pain receptors, temperature receptors. It's going to send a signal to your brain saying, that's really hot, we're going to get injured. And your brain will send a signal back to your hand, telling your muscles to move your hand away. So this is our system of reflexes, our reactions to things, and it's our thought processes, both conscious and subconscious. It controls pretty much every little thing about you, from the temperature of your body to your posture to how everything else is happening inside your body that you don't have to think about. Moving on to our digestive system. This system, it doesn't appear very complicated on our little mannequin here, but it's actually fairly complicated. We have lots of organs in this system. We have our mouth, esophagus, our stomach, our liver, our large intestine, our small intestine, our rectum, and there's a number of other smaller organs as well. And its main job is for nutrient absorption. When we eat food, we can't just expect that cookie to magically become energy for us. We have to break it down and take the nutrients from our food. And that happens in many phases along our digestive system. Again, that food is moved along that system from the peristaltic motions of our muscles, because muscles kind of line our organs. And by the time we get to the end of our system here, once we pass through the small intestine and nutrients are absorbed, and the large intestine and water is absorbed, you are left with remnants. And this is going to be your solid waste. So your digestive system also gets rid of the solid waste for your body through the rectum. As we move on to the respiratory system, we can also think of this system as getting rid of waste for us as well. We exhale carbon dioxide, so we are getting rid of that waste gas. It also lets us inhale oxygen, which we need for all our body tissues and able to produce energy. This system is comprised of only a couple of things. This muscle you see at the bottom here is the diaphragm, and that pulls down to expand your lungs and let air in, and then it presses up to compress your lungs and let CO2 leave your body, carbon dioxide. We have the lungs, we have the trachea, and that's what we see here. We have the larynx, pharynx, all that good stuff. But again, the majority of what we're using this respiratory system for is just that basic gas exchange, oxygen for carbon dioxide. It works very closely in tandem with our cardiovascular or circulatory system. In the circulatory system, we have a heart, we have veins, and we have arteries. Our heart's job is to pump blood to the body, so it's pumping oxygen-rich blood. That blood, it goes to the lungs, picks up oxygen, and then it's kind of spent through the whole body. It's actually shot through the whole body. It's a pretty high-pressure pump. And it moves through our whole body to deliver oxygen to all of our body cells. Once that oxygen is dropped off, it picks up carbon dioxide that's been used or created by our cells, and that carbon dioxide is carried all the way back to the heart and then sent back to the lungs to be exhaled or leave the body. So those two systems work in really close tandem. It's hard to really separate them because their jobs are so similar. One key thing to remember is that arteries carry blood away from the heart. I always think of artery away, and veins carry blood back to the heart. So that's what we're looking at here. In our diagram, arteries always appear red and veins always appear blue, even though they're not actually, you never actually have blue veins. They're not blue. If you look at your wrists and look at those veins, they might look blue, but that's just the way the light is actually reflecting off of your skin. The next system we're going to look at is the lymphatic system, which is one that most people don't know exists. It includes a couple of different organs. We have our spleen here. We have our thyroid here, or our thymus, sorry. And we have all of our lymph nodes and vessels throughout the body. They're concentrated heavily in the neck, in the groin area, and in the armpits. And the job of these lymph nodes is just to filter out waste from the blood and surrounding tissues. So it's a filtration system. And it's why when you get sick, you feel like you've got some large kind of almost egg shapes down here below your throat. The job of these lymph nodes down here is to filter out all that dead bacteria your body's been killing off to protect you. All those dead viruses, everything that you've had to filter out will go through those lymph nodes, and they can get kind of clogged and painful. But the lymphatic system is there to help just get everything out of your system that doesn't need to be there. It's kind of, again, a waste system. You're trying to get rid of all the gunk that's clogging up your body. Our next system is the urinary system, also called the excretory system, but I feel like we run into some issues there. I like calling it the urinary system because it deals with urine. It deals with liquid waste. We have our kidneys here, our ureters, our bladder, and our urethra, the opening to the outside. And the kidneys are just filtering the blood for extra water, extra materials that don't need to be in our blood anymore, extra salts, things like that. That gets filtered out, sent to the kidneys, and will be carried in the bladder until it leaves the body. So this is our system of getting rid of liquid waste. When we call it the excretory system, We combine the liquid waste with our gas waste. So if you're calling it the excretory system, we also include the carbon dioxide exchange as part of that waste as well. It's a waste gas. Moving on to our potentially most complicated system, it's one of my favorites, the endocrine system. So the endocrine system, I'm going to go ahead and pull all of them up here. So our endocrine system, it consists of different glands. And these glands, you can see a number of them here. We have several in the brain. We have our thyroid here. You have adrenal glands. You have a pancreas. Here are ovaries. And then we also have testes. I'm showing you just both pairs so you can see them. And these glands produce chemical messengers called hormones. So we have electrical messages coming from the brain and our nerves, and we have chemical messages coming from the endocrine system. And these chemical messengers, they're produced and they go through our bloodstream to have an impact on different organs. And there is, you can take an entire class in college about this. You can take classes on classes about the endocrine system because it has so many unique and specific interactions with other systems. And it controls so many different body processes and helps keep your body in homeostasis, or in that nice even level that we like to have our body operate at. When you eat something sugary, like let's say a donut, I've got lots of sugar in donuts. Your body's going to break that down into sugar pretty quickly, but if your blood sugar gets too high, it can have a negative impact on you. So in order to counteract that, your endocrine system is going to release a hormone called insulin, and it's going to bring your blood sugar back to a normal level. So it's there to balance you out whenever you kind of get out of whack. And that's the job of the endocrine system. In addition, the endocrine system works really closely with the reproductive system. And here I'm going to show the reproductive system for a female first, and then I'll switch to the male reproductive system. Because the reproductive system in a female consists of the uterus, the fallopian tubes, the vagina. It also includes the ovaries, thinking of the big one there. The ovaries produce female hormones. These help to govern everything. It allows for the possibility of childbirth. So without the endocrine system, you don't get to produce estrogen or progesterone, which are those female hormones that make a female able to have a baby. So you need both of those systems working together or it won't be possible. When we look at the male reproductive system, we have the penis, the testes, and a couple other smaller organ parts there. But the testes produce testosterone. And again, that's one of the most important hormones for creating sperm. And that will enable, again, childbirth. So these two systems work really, really closely together because if you don't have the correct amount of hormones, you cannot have the reproductive system working efficiently or properly or even at all. So there are so many different ways that we could find comparisons between systems. If I picked two sliders kind of at random and just threw them across, like if I did digestive and urinary, we could talk about how if I eat a salad with lots of vegetables in it, vegetables are made up of a lot of water. So as they are digested by my digestive system, when they get to the large intestine, water is pulled out of the food that I eat. Now it's a lot of water. So that water is probably going to be extra than what I need in my body. It's going to get filtered out through the kidneys and sent off as liquid waste. You can do this with any of these systems. If you picked any two sliders, you can find ways that they would interact together. For example, I did another one when I said your hand was on the hot stove. The integumentary system, your skin, and your muscular system work to move your hand away. Your nervous system work to tell you, hey, that hand needs to move away. Even if you don't think, oh, I should probably move my hand. This is a hot stove. Your body will automatically make your hand move because you feel that pain or that heat. So I'll post this link below the video. You can have some fun playing around with it. And if you need anything else, please make sure you put that in the comments. But as always, I hope you have fun. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you later.